everybody, welcome back from spring break. We are going to start off the week and today by learning a new chapter. So we're learning from Chapter 7, Lesson 1, Equations. Remember in Chapter 6 we were learning about expressions. Okay, so today we're going to be learning about equations, and just like we learned in the Chapter 6 about expressions, following a process is going to be really important in this chapter. So one of the main things we learned in Chapter 6 was order of operations. Okay, so just remember to follow a process. We're going to have a process written down here, and following a process is important so we are all getting the same answer and solving something the same way. Okay, so let's start by defining what an equation is. Okay, so remember this is our main ideas column, and then this is our notes column. We're starting off by writing the word equation, and here's our definition. So an equation is a mathematical sentence showing that two expressions are equal. Okay, so let's just reread that. An equation is a mathematical sentence showing that two expressions are equal. Okay, let's look at equation. The first four letters, E, Q, U, A, it's the start of equal, right? So we see that in equation we have part of the word equal, okay? It's just missing the L. So an equation is a mathematical sentence showing that two expressions are equal. So an expression, which we learned in Chapter 6, okay, it's got to have numbers, sometimes it may have variables, and it's got to have operations. So an expression, we have to show that two expressions are equal. Here's an example of that. 5 plus 4 equals 9. Okay, so this is a pretty simple equation. Over here, if we cover up the 9, we see one expression. We see 5 plus 4. This 5 plus 4, that's one expression. Okay, if we cover up the 5 plus 4, we see a 9. That's another expression. Okay, so right there we have our two expressions. Alright, and then we also see an equal sign. Okay, so we know that an equation has an equal sign, showing that two expressions, this is one expression, this is another expression, showing that they're equal. Okay, so let's move on to another kind of definition slash example. So we are going to be learning how to solve an equation. Okay. So when we are solving an equation, it means to replace a variable, and a variable again is a letter, with a value that makes an equation true. Okay, so yes, we are going to learn how to solve an equation, and we're going to show some examples, but also we need to talk about what it means to solve an equation. So it means to replace a variable, which is a letter, any letter in the alphabet, with a value that makes an equation true. And I'm just going to take a time out to talk a little more about variables. So a variable, yes, it's any letter in the alphabet. But a variable also stands for an unknown number. We don't know a lot of times what that variable is unless we're told. So in some of these equations, we may be having to solve for that equation, which means finding out what that variable is, what number it is. Okay? So it means to replace a variable, a letter, with a value that makes an equation true. So given, for example, given the equation 2 plus w equals 10, okay, if we are given this equation and we're asked to solve the equation, we are looking for the value that replaces this variable that makes this equation true. So when we say it makes the equation true, it makes it equal. That's why we have the equal sign, okay? So this expression is equal to this expression. And to find out what value this is, we've got to kind of work through a process, okay? So we've got to find a solution to this. To find a solution, we're going to think, what could we add to 2 to get 10? And in this case, if you do some mental math, 2 plus 8 equals 10. So what we just found right there is a solution. Okay, and the solution is the value that makes the equation true. So in this case, w equals 8. This makes the equation true. It makes it equal. Okay, it makes this expression equal to this expression. And we know that they're equal because of this equal sign. So w equals 8, that's our solution. All right. Now we are going to start trying to solve some of these problems. We're going to go through a few examples. Okay. And then we're also going to go through one example right now that the book kind of asks you to do. So it's going to ask you to solve an equation, but it's also going to give you a list of answers. So we're going to practice that right now. So identify the solution from a given list. Okay, so identify the solution from a given list. So the chapter, or if I give you a problem, we're going to give you a list in this case. Okay, so here's our first example. 12 divided by w equals 3. And here is our list. Okay, we are going to be given a list of 3, 4, and 5. And we need to determine from this list which of these values is w. So we have to see which value works to be w is our solution so that it makes the equation true. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it on this side. 12 divided by w equals 3. And I'm given my list. My list is 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to think about this logically. I can do a few different things. I can put in 3, 4, and 5 in for w and see what I get. So I could go 12 divided by 3. Do I get 3? No. I could do 12 divided by 4 equals 3. Do I get 3 if I do 12 divided by 4? Yes, you do. So there, just by plugging these numbers in for W, you're able to check and see, kind of like a guess and check, but a little more educated. So 12, just using mental math, when I did 12 divided by 4, I got 3. Okay, and then I don't even need to try the 5 because I already found my solution. So my solution is 4. W equals 4. I'm going to highlight this to say this is my solution, just like we have up here. And then also, okay, this value, if we look back up here, this value is what made the equation true, okay? So we're always looking for the value that makes the equation true. All right, let's try another example. So in this example, we are going to be solving mentally, okay? All right, so here is our equation, m minus 8 equals 5. I'm going to rewrite that over here, m minus 8 equals 5. So one of the things we need to do when we are solving mentally, we need to think, okay? You can do a few different strategies. You could do like a guess and check, a plug and chug. You could just try to guess. But if you just think about it, take a minute, think about it, you'll probably be able to find out, what m minus 8 equals 5, what solution we would need. So what value would work for m so that we're making the equation true, okay? So over here I'm going to write down what our process is going to be. And our process is going to be to think, and we're going to be thinking what number, okay, what number minus 8 equals 5. And if you look at this real quick, right here on this side of the equation, it's a positive number. So we know that m is probably going to be larger than 8, since it's m minus 8. If this was a smaller number, we would probably have a negative on this side. But since this is a positive number, that tells us m is most likely going to be a larger number than 8, okay? That's just thinking about it logically. But if you just think about what number minus 8 equals 5, well, probably 13 minus 8 equals 5. And maybe you don't know that off the top of your head. That's okay. Just take a couple guesses. So 13 minus 8 equals 5. So m equals 13 is the solution. Okay. Let's try one more, and then you guys can get to practicing on your own. So in this one, we're going to be multiplying. So the equation is 6t equals 42. Okay. So again, we're going to rewrite our equation, 6t equals 42. And we are going to do the same process. We're going to think, what number times 6 equals 42? And I wrote that opposite. It should have been 6 times what number equals 42. But you're just thinking, what could I multiply by 6 so that I get 42? What number times 6 equals 42? And if you need, you can look at your multiplication fact chart, okay? So, but if you know it off the top of your head, you might know that 6 times 7 equals 42. Remember, this dot means that we're multiplying, okay? So then t equals 7, and this is our solution. T equals 7 is the solution. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys practice on your own, but I want you to be thinking. When you're solving, you're trying to find a value for the variable that makes the equation true. Okay, if you need any help, just let me know.